Disneyland and Disney California Adventure have always had a special place in my heart. I've been going to the theme park since I was born and have never stopped since. It's a place where dreams come true. I mean, there's a reason they call it the happiest place on Earth. Of course, we can't talk about Disney without talking about the rides. From the e-ticket attractions such as Space and Big Thunder Mountain to the smaller thrill rides such as Teacups, there's enough for the whole family. So today, we're going to be ranking all the Disneyland Resort rides. Woo! Okay, let's set the ground rules. First off, I'll be defining rides as attractions that are sit-down experiences that are not mainly shows. So we'll be excluding all nighttime spectaculars and mainly show-oriented attractions such as Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. On top of that, I'm going to be excluding all variants of rides so this video won't get too long and my rankings won't get messed up. Lastly, I won't be including Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway because I have yet to write that right yet. And if we're being completely honest, it's probably a low A tier. That leaves us with 58 rides, so let's get started. Starting us off in F tier, we have Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind. And boy does this ride cause absolutely no emotion at all. Being a literal reskin of Flix Flyers, you get raised, spun around 5 times, then descend back down to the ground. It's a sad addition to DCA and I have nothing more to say about this eyesore of a ride. F tier. Next up is Jumpin' Jellyfish. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Need I say more? F tier.
That's a jellyfish!
Jesse's Critter Carousel. It's your basic flat ride. It looks better than Emotional Whirlwind, I guess, but that's about it. You can find a much better alternative at Disneyland. F tier. Lastly in F tier, we have Casey Jr. Circus Train. It's a little train that rides around Storybook canals. It also has a nice song attached to it. Other than that, it's a claustrophobic nightmare and has nothing new you can't see with the Storybook Land canal boats. Deserved place. F tier. Moving up to D tier, we have the Silly Symphony Swings, your basic flat ride. Go up and spin. Except all that's keeping you from death into the Paradise Bay is some rope and a metal bar. That's it. I always imagined it just malfunctioning and just whee. D tier. Whee. Now we have its sister ride, the Golden Zephyr. A step up from the death trap that is the Silly Symphony Swings, and it looks really pretty at night. Only thing is that it can't run in the slightest wind conditions. Isn't that great? D tier. Next is the Toy Story shooter that no one asked for. Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters is one of those rides that you go on at the end of the day because there's a short line and because why not? It's a cute little Omnimover shooter that moves you through a bunch of rooms with cardboard cutouts with targets on them. Seeing your score at the end is always nice, but other than that, very, very mid. D tier.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure, horrible name by the way, is the second shooter to come to the Disneyland Resort that no one asked for. What's surprising is that there's literally an incredible alternative just a few hundred steps away. But yet, Disney thought it was a good idea to introduce the MCU to the parks with this mess of a ride. The queue is painfully boring, with some small Easter eggs here and there. The pre-show is just a Tom Holland cameo, with a shit ton of CGI around him. And the ride itself is just the workout you never expected to get while at Disney. Tasked with helping clean up the mess that Spider-Man caused, and by extension Disney, you shoot webs with arm movement that your ride vehicle tracks and translate into shots on screen. An interesting concept on paper, sure, but in practice it's just annoying and tiring. Not only is the ride bad, but Disney, out of its infinite knowledge and capitalistic desires, decided to add DLC to the ride through the form of toys. For only $55, you get to shoot with Black Widow's electricity and Iron Man's repulsors instead of those lame free webs. Sorry, no thanks. D tier. Moving on from that travesty, we have Mickey's the Pixar Pal Around. Another reskin of an old ride that no one asked for, but it gives a nice view of the whole park and is very relaxing. If you choose the non-swinging version, of course. We'll get to the swinging version in a bit, but for now, D tier.
Okay, I really hope that little boy does not pee on me.
we have reached C tier, where the rides aren't the most boring pieces of shit you've ridden in your life. Right up there with most of Universal's rides.
Ride or die!
To begin, the transportation rides. A bit of an odd pick, but hey, it's better than any of these. We got the monorail, the red car trolley, the main street vehicles, and the boats on the rivers of America. All virtually the same idea, sitting down in a vehicle and enjoying the sights and sounds of the Disneyland Resort. I have no problem with these, so C tier they go.
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Now we have another exercise that no one asked for, the Davy Crocker canoes. Unlike a certain ride, this is actually a pleasant experience and it is a welcome addition to the park. While limited to certain seasons, it provides a nice ride right on the rivers of America with an accompanying cast member that cracks a joke once in a while.
Follow the person in front of you. Make the exact same mistakes they are.
If you haven't tried it, I recommend doing so if you have the time in your schedule, and I guarantee it will be a pleasant surprise. C tier. We're back to the Pixar Power Ride, and this time we're feeling a bit risky. The swinging version of the Ferris wheel adds a thrilling twist onto the ride that I never knew I needed. Definitely does create some memorable moments though. C tier. Yeehaw, it's Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. It's your basic flat ride, just tractors. Simple, fun, and you get to act like scrambled eggs as the force of the turn pushes you into the person next to you. C tier for causing concussions. Right next to that is Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters, a cute trackless ride that swings you into a dance over some nice tunes. Relaxing and really nothing to complain about this ride, but I do kind of miss what was there before. For all the hell that was, it was sure fun. C tier.
Please stop.
Next, we take you to the backside of water with the Jungle Cruise. Disregarding whatever this shit was, the ride is a nice journey through the jungle with a dad joke spitting skipper that I thoroughly enjoy.
Those are margarine flies. Yeah, they call them that because they can't believe they're not butterflies.
The mix of the live performance and physical sets certainly sets it apart as one of the more unique rides at Disney. A quaint little experience that deserves C tier.
That's a prop.
Going back to Fantasyland is the Storybook Land canal boats. You go through to a place filled with small dioramas of settings from classic Disney movies, like Aladdin and Frozen. Nice way to chill with a charming boat ride. C tier. Up next is a bunch of dark rides retelling the stories of the respective movies. Pinocchio, Monsters Inc., Winnie the Pooh, and Alice in Wonderland all utilize physical set pieces and special effects, and I think they do an alright job. I really like Alice's use of projector mapping, Winnie's ride vehicles, and Monster Inc.'s big set pieces. A little side note here, but I'd like to shout out Disneyland Tokyo's Winnie the Pooh, cause from what I've seen, it's an amazing ride that uses current technology in spectacular ways. Anyways, all C tier. Similar to previous rides, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin is another dark ride that takes riders through various scenes with special effects and set pieces. Although with this ride, there's a bigger presence of effects and you get to spin. Whee! So for that reason, C tier. Just a few steps away from Roger Rabbit is Chip 'n Dale's Gadget Go Coaster. It's an endearing little kiddie coaster that I loved as a kid. With the new Toontown update, they added a new animatronic and spruced up the colors of the ride. All greatly appreciated changes. It's fun for the whole family and I only wish it was a bit longer. C tier. Next few rides are your typical flat rides, but are higher up because of how iconic they are. Mad Hatter's Teacups and Dumbo are a Disneyland staple and are basically the only things you see in Disneyland commercials today. Astro Orbiters is one of the icons of Tomorrowland and also gives you a sick view of the fireworks. And King Arthur's Carousel is a great social media spot and also features a Sword of the Stone that too many adults try to get out. C tier.
Happiest place on earth.
Lastly, we have It's a Small World. Ignoring the creepy doll energy, it features a crazy amount of animatronics and is, like many others in C tier, an icon of Disneyland. Also, it's a great help in escaping the California heat for a few minutes. C tier.
Past I've been a nasty. They weren't kidding when they called me Lalo Rich.
Moving up to B tier, we have the rides who are above average, but slightly less than great. An example of this is Goofy's Sky School, otherwise known as the ultimate kid coaster. This reskinned mouse coaster very much lacks any form of theming at all, but is barely made up by how much fun it is. It has you swinging from side to side, fracturing several ribs in the process. I really wish they tried harder on making a ride that better fit the area and was much more heavily themed, but I'll take it considering the limited space. B tier. Now is Autopia, otherwise known as every kid's first driver's test. An enjoyable ride where parents and friends alike get to judge the driver on how great or how shit they drive in different scenarios. For the passenger, it's a semi-relaxing cruise to the Autopia track. For the driver, it's a rush to get out of there as quickly as possible and as smoothly as possible. Also, the ride somehow makes the smell of gasoline somewhat iconic to the park. It works. B tier. Star Tours, the adventure continues. This is basically a universal ride featuring Star Wars. The queue is fun to walk through, seeing a model of the ship up close and all the Easter eggs in a busy spaceport. The ride itself is a bit rough on the edges, but still comes to a solid ride through. And every now and then, it gets a new scene, which is always a treat. Although it's kind of weird that Star Tours isn't in the Star Wars theme land, but hey, I guess they'll get to that when they finally revamp Tomorrowland, right? Right? B tier.
Bye-bye.
Continuing Star Wars is Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. It's basically Star Tours, but a video game. It kind of reminds me of one of those booths at arcades where you get locked in and play as if you're a starfighter. The big Millennium Falcon out front is really cool, and the queue is a queue. The pre-show has a pretty cool animatronic. It's everybody's favorite space pirate, Hondo. Anyways, the waiting room in the actual quarters of the Falcon is certainly a plus for the ride. Although I will never forgive Disney for making me trust my team to get through the galaxy unscathed. Never trust anyone. B tier. Next up is Snow White's Scary Adventure. What's this? They changed it to Snow White's Enchanted Wish? When the fuck did that happen? Anyways, Snow White's Enchanted Wish is a dark ride retelling the events of Walt's hit film. It does a pretty damn good job with it using animatronics, screens, lighting, and props. Also, it's hella iconic. I remember it used to scare the shit out of me back then, and I don't know why. Oh, and that witch peeks out every now and then, I guess. B tier. A few steps across from that, we have our next ride, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. It's a sleeper of an attraction, in my opinion, that should get the recognition it deserves. Okay, to be completely honest, I've only put it up so high because it's a crazy ass ride. Like you go from a library, to drinking your sorrows away, to driving under the influence, to going to court for said crime, then fucking dying to a train. After which you go to hell? Like, huh? Absolutely fucking wild. Hey, at least it got the judicial system in its rightful place. B tier. Going back over to DCA is The Little Mermaid Undersea Adventure. It's an enjoyable small dark ride that has a bunch of animatronics and good music to accompany the experience. Even if the ending is a bit rushed, I appreciate the effort put into this ride. B tier. Alright, we're getting into the big leagues with A tier. To begin, the Disneyland Railroad. Being Walt Disney's passion, it's one of the most fun ways to get around the park. You can't go wrong with a little choo-choo in your day, taking in the sights and sounds of the magical place you have the fortune in visiting. Also, dinosaurs, because why the fuck not? A tier. Next, we have Grizzly River Run. Being an opening day attraction for DCA back in 2001, it's not that bad. I know it gets some hate for being pretty lackluster and typical when it comes to river raft rides, but I think it's a fun ride to cool off and being totally fucking terrified on. From the spinning loading platform to the dread of getting splashed with a shit ton of water, I love it all. A tier.
It's 9:30 in the morning. It's too early to get wet.
Sticking with water rides, it's Finding Nemo's Submarine Voyage. Definitely one of my favorite dark rides to this day. Just the feeling of being in a submarine and seeing all the marine life is just so fucking cool to me. Also, the view it provides to the border between Fantasyland and Tomorrowland. Most importantly of all, bubbles! Literally my favorite part of the ride, fight me. A tier.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming.
Speaking of Fantasyland, next is probably the most busy ride there, Peter Pan's Flight. The whole ride is just a pure manifestation of the Imagineer's visions into reality. From flying over London to seeing an overhead view of Neverland, it's really as good as it gets when talking about Disney level dark rides. It's presented in such a colorful and beautiful manner that I just can't get over. A tier. Going over to New Orleans is the Haunted Mansion, an absolute powerhouse. Heh, get it? Of a ride. From the haunting pre-show that sets the mood to the animatronics found within the hallowed halls of the mansion to the Pepper's ghosts, dancers, and the dining hall, I just adore this ride. And it just gets so much better during the Halloween and Christmas season with the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay. Definitely deserved A tier. Moving all the way across the Esplanade is the Incredicoaster. Now, let me preface this ride by saying this first. I think this is the worst variation of this ride. Let me explain. I wholeheartedly believe this ride is great. Being one of the few roller coasters on the property and the only one with an inversion, it's one hell of a thrill. The incredible score by Michael Giacchino elevates the experience to even higher heights. Plus, I usually luck out with comparably short wait times, and multiple ride-throughs makes it so much better. It's just that California Scream was just so much better. The additions they added to the attraction after the retheme of Paradise Pier are lazy to say it kindly. Like Baby Jacks on a stick? Really? A tier. To top off A tier is a classic attraction, the Matterhorn. First off, I love the story behind the creation of the ride. Just imagine Walt Disney deciding to mail you a postcard of the Matterhorn when he's on vacation, with the only written words on the back being, "Build this." Like, damn. This ride is really a treat to ride, even if it causes me to have broken ribs and fractures in multiple locations. A tier.
This includes cameras, purses, hats, and of course, these little beauties.
Finally, we have reached the coveted S tier. These rides are the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the absolute standard for e-ticket attractions at Disney. Starting off is Toy Story Mania, a simple yet effective ride that does the job of providing a good time for the whole family. Now this is how you do a shooter ride, Disney. I will admit it is a workout to pull the strings as fast as you can, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to endure to experience this iconic attraction. And you already know I got the highest scores on this shit. S tier.
You'll love this game, it's so insane!
One of the newer rides at Disneyland, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, has so many ride systems combined into one that it's incredible that Imagineers were able to pull this feat off. Despite the fact that it's down 75% of the time, the story and the different experiences it takes riders on is absolutely amazing. The big set pieces along with the amount of steps Disney has taken to ensure immersion makes it even better. Like, look at these sets, like holy shit. S tier. Now for the best dark ride at Disneyland, Indiana Jones Adventure. Not a very surprising one, but a very deserving one. Just starting in the queue, it's S tier. The attention to detail in the queue is an attraction upon itself. The theming, the hidden features, is all just amazing. Then you get on the ride and you get sent into the Forbidden Temple of props and special effects galore. For fuck's sake, just look at this scene. Like, how the fuck can you not put this in S tier? With the addition after the refurb, including some sprucing of neglected effects and animatronics along with 2 new ride scenes, the ride is the ultimate dark ride. S tier. Up next is Pirates of the Caribbean. There's not much to say about this ride other than it's iconic. From the large action scenes to the attention to detail, it gets so many things right. It truly immerses you into a world of pirates and Jack Sparrows. It's just such a good and enjoyable ride. S tier. Continuing with iconic rides is Splash Mountain. Makes your basic log flume ride into a fun ride through the animal-filled world of Brer Rabbit. Like Indiana Jones, the animatronic heavy ride is very susceptible to many effects and characters falling into disrepair, but for the most part it still continues to bring a cheerful ride through. Zippity Doo Dah and other songs featured on the ride are also staples of Disney parks that boost the attraction ever so higher. Sadly, Disney is replacing this attraction with Tiana's Bayou Adventure as an effort of making the parks more inclusive and respectful of certain cultures, and I can't really blame them. The questionable history of the ride's inspiration definitely brings it down, but otherwise it's a spectacular ride. Let's just hope Tiana does the ride justice. S tier.
Zippity doo dah.
Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout is an incredibly fun ride that is a must ride when going to DCA. From the queue, decked out with Easter eggs galore, to the actual ride itself. A drop ride accompanied by 80s tracks? Sign me the hell up. While I do miss the Tower of Terror, Mission Breakout is just more fun. Although it is an eyesore being so out of place with Hollywoodland and Adventures Campus. Other than that, really great ride. S tier.
Which button is the button you're supposed to push? Point to it. No!
Staying in DCA, we have Radiator Spring Racers. Let's get the negatives out of the way first. This queue is very long and very boring. Along with the scorching California heat, this line is hell to sit through. The ride itself is amazing though. It starts off with a slow drive through Radiator Springs and then jumps straight into LA traffic during rush hour. After that, there comes some variety between Ramon's Body Shop and Luigi's Tires, both unique and fun in their own ways. Then comes the race. It's just one hell of a thrill that I can enjoy over and over and over again. Just one good time. S tier. A bit of an odd choice of some, but next is Soaring. I loved this ride as a kid because it just felt so surreal. The sensation from being cleared from tower to the ride sound starting up and lifting up into the air. It's perfect. Also, the sound and smells the ride incorporates just brings so much nostalgia. While the around the world variation is nice, Around California will always be my favorite. S tier.
Soaring to tower. We are ready for takeoff.
Next is Space Mountain. This ride is just a perfect thrill ride. It all starts with the music choice where Michael Giacchino strikes again with this high intensity soundtrack that perfectly accompanies the ride. The ride itself is a blast to sit through though. Total Darkness really brings out the craziest moments on the ride and should not be understated. I would ride this coaster over and over again and I will still never get tired of it. S tier.
You are cleared for launch.
Last but not least, we have Big Thunder Mountain. This ride is the perfect way to start and end your day at Disneyland. From the rickety-rackety sounds of the trains passing you by in the queue, to the twists and turns the ride itself sends riders through, it makes for one of the best attractions you could experience in the parks. S tier.
'Cause this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
And that's my whole Disneyland Resort ride tier list. From the truly despicable to the best of the best. In the end, all of these rides, except you, hold a special place in my heart for being in the best theme park I've had the luck of experiencing. No matter what you think of these rides, I hope you can make the best memories on them and enjoy them like I did.